Hey man, no matter how many times we're warned, how many stories we hear, or how many red flags we ignore, most men only learn this one truth, the hard way. Don't trust women blindly. Not because women are inherently evil or malicious, but because they are wired differently. Their emotional compass, their instincts, their decisions, they operate on a wavelength that isn't based in logic or consistency, but in emotional survival. And when a man doesn't understand this, when he places blind faith in a woman, when he believes that love will protect him from betrayal, he's setting himself up for devastation, not because he loved, but because he assumed her love would mirror his own. And in that assumption, he opens himself up to a level of pain that changes him forever. A woman's loyalty is conditional. Her love is real, but it's real in the moment, and that moment can shift. It can be replaced. It can disappear the second her feelings change. This is something most men never expect. We love with permanence, with vision, with the idea that once we commit, we endure. But women, they love in snapshots. And when the picture no longer feels beautiful, they rip it up and start again. You might be building a future while she's rewriting the past. You might be planning how to grow while she's planning her exit. And because she won't tell you when the shift begins, you'll be blindsided. That's the cruelty. Not that she changed, but that she didn't tell you she was changing until she was already gone. Every man who's ever been blindsided by a breakup knows this truth. The distance didn't start when she left. It started weeks, months before, when her texts became shorter, her interest faded, and her affection became mechanical. But we ignored it. We chalked it up to stress, to work, to hormones, because we didn't want to believe she could leave. Because we thought loyalty meant something to her the way it meant to us. But here's the painful truth. A woman's loyalty is tied to her emotional state, and when she stops feeling what she once felt, she doesn't fight for it, she walks away, and you're left standing there, holding the pieces of a commitment she no longer remembers making. Trust isn't about paranoia, it's about understanding, it's about seeing the nature of what you're dealing with. A lion is beautiful, majestic, but you don't put your hand in its mouth. You don't trust its nature to change because it's purring today. And the same goes for women. You can love them, you can connect with them, but you must never surrender your judgment. You must never believe that her words today are a promise for tomorrow. You must never trade your vision for her validation, because when you do, you become vulnerable to her changing wind. You place your life in the hands of someone whose heart beats to the rhythm of emotion, not reason. And no matter how loyal she seems today, if you forget that truth, she'll remind you, painfully. It's not that women are bad, it's that most men are naive, raised on fairy tales and romantic comedies. We believe that if we just love her enough, treat her well enough, stay loyal enough, she'll never leave. But women don't fall in love with comfort, they fall in love with presence, polarity, power. And when you become too soft, too agreeable, too trusting, she starts to feel something shift, not in her head, but in her body. Her attraction dies quietly, and by the time she's texting another guy, she's already written a story in her mind that justifies it. You stop leading, you stop challenging her, you became too emotionally available, too easy. And the worst part, you trusted her not to change, but she did. And now you're the one left confused, bitter, broken. Every man must go through this crucible. That moment when he realizes the woman he trusted the most, the one he gave everything to, is the one who left him in pieces. And in that moment, something breaks inside him. But that break isn't the end, it's the beginning. The birth of discernment, the end of blind trust, the death of fantasy. It's where the boy dies and the man is born. Because after that, he no longer believes that love is enough. He no longer gives his soul away for affection. He no longer trusts a woman's words over her patterns. He starts watching, listening, observing, not with paranoia, but with wisdom. And that wisdom, that's what keeps him grounded when the next storm comes. You can't trust a woman's words. You have to trust her patterns, her history, her behavior. Every woman can say she wants a loyal man, a strong man, a man who communicates. But what does she actually respond to? What kind of man gets her attention? What kind of energy does she chase? That's the truth. Not her declarations, not her promises, but her reactions, her choices, her reality. And when you ignore that, when you trust her fantasies over her facts, you pay the price. You start doing more, giving more, fixing more, hoping it will change something. But it never does, because you're not dealing with logic. You're dealing with shifting emotional terrain, and trusting that terrain without a compass, that's how men get lost. The pain of betrayal is not just about what she did, it's about what you believed. It's about the innocence you had to kill just to survive. That part of you that truly thought she'd never hurt you, that believed her tears, her vows, her intimacy, that believed love meant something eternal. That's the part that hurts the most. And when it dies, you mourn. Not just her, but the man you used to be, the man who trusted, who hoped, who tried. And while that death is brutal, it's necessary. Because on the other side of it is a man who no longer puts women on pedestals. A man who no longer builds castles in the clouds. A man who loves from strength, not need, from clarity, not illusion. Don't trust a woman just because she's affectionate, just because she says she loves you. Women love the way they breathe, naturally, instinctively, often without thought. But that doesn't mean they'll stay. Love for them is fluid, conditional, based on how they feel, on whether you still make their heart race, on whether your presence still feels safe and exciting. And the second you become too familiar, too soft, too predictable, she starts pulling away, slowly at first, then all at once. And if you've tied your identity to her love, you'll be shattered, because you trusted a river to stay still. And rivers, my friend, don't do that. There's a reason so many men become cold after heartbreak. It's not bitterness, it's protection. It's the realization that vulnerability is sacred, and not everyone deserves it. That you can't hand your heart to someone who's still figuring out how to hold her own. That you can't trust someone who's never been tested, who's never had to earn your commitment. Doing that isn't romantic, it's reckless. And until a woman proves herself with actions, with time, with consistency, you don't trust her. You observe, you lead, you stay centered. Because trusting too soon isn't a strength, it's a wound waiting to happen. Every man has a moment when he sees it, her eyes drifting, her tone changing, her presence slipping. It happens in the middle of what feels like love. You're sitting next to her, but she's somewhere else entirely. She's texting more, laughing at her phone, less affectionate, suddenly busy. And even when you ask what's wrong, she says nothing. That's when it hits you. She's not here anymore, but she won't say it. She won't admit it. She'll wait until it's convenient for her to walk away. Until there's a better option, a softer landing. And you'll be blindsided. Because you trusted her silence. You thought nothing's wrong meant peace, but it meant preparation. It meant her loyalty already expired, and you were the last to know. Trust is not built in words. It's not built in dates, or cuddles, or shared playlists. It's built in consistency, especially when things get hard. You don't know if a woman is trustworthy until she's uncomfortable, until she's mad, until she's bored, until she sees a better option. That's when the mask slips. That's when her character is revealed. And if she folds at the first sign of conflict, she was never there to build. She was there for the highs, for the validation, for the emotional sugar rush. And when that faded, so did her loyalty. Most men only learn this after they've sacrificed everything for a woman who disappeared when life stopped being exciting. They trusted her excitement, but never tested her endurance. That's the mistake. You must stop romanticizing her intentions. She is not a savior, not a goddess, not your purpose. She is a human being with flaws, impulses, and emotional shifts you may never fully understand. And if you forget that, if you place blind faith in her perfection, you'll hand her the power to destroy you. Not because she's cruel, but because she's human. Because we all act in self-interest when things break down. And if your trust was unconditional, if your identity was wrapped in her affection, you'll be shattered. Your peace cannot depend on her presence. Your self-worth cannot be validated by her consistency. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And the man who forgets that learns it the hard way. There's a reason you can give a woman the world and she'll still walk away. It's not about what you gave, it's about how you gave it. When you love without standard, when you trust without boundary, when you give without earning, she doesn't feel grateful, she feels bored. Because love isn't just about giving, it's about depth, structure, polarity. And when you hand her everything up front, when you trust her too soon, when you surrender your edge in exchange for approval, she feels it. The imbalance, the loss of tension. And while she might thank you with words, her heart starts searching for contrast, and eventually she finds it in someone else. And you sit there wondering how doing everything right still led to being left. Men get punished for trusting too soon. You think if you're emotionally available, vulnerable, expressive, she'll value your openness. But what she really wants is your presence, not your emotional unraveling. She wants your strength, not your submission, your leadership, not your constant explaining. And when you mistake emotional dumping for intimacy, when you overexpose your heart before she's earned your story, she doesn't feel closer, she feels turned off. Because now you're no longer the man she admired. You've become a boy seeking safety, a soul begging to be accepted. And she didn't sign up for that. She signed up for the man who trusted himself, not the man who blindly trusted her to carry the emotional weight of the relationship. You want to know who a woman really is? Don't watch how she treats you when she wants you. Watch how she treats you when she doesn't, when she's annoyed, when she's distant, when she doesn't get her way. That's where her real self shows. That's where her loyalty is tested. And if she turns cold, manipulative, or disrespectful the moment things get hard, you now know who she is. But if you trust her based on the highlight reel, the first 3 months, the butterflies, the shared dreams, you'll never see it coming. Trust isn't about falling, it's about filtering. It's not romantic to give someone the keys to your kingdom before you know how they rule. It's suicide. You don't need to hate women to stop trusting them blindly. You just need to observe, to learn, to let experience shape your wisdom instead of your bitterness. A high-value man doesn't distrust out of pain. He distrusts out of principle. He gives slowly. He watches closely. He rewards consistency, not chemistry. And he understands that every woman, no matter how sweet she seems, has the capacity to betray if her feelings shift and her values are untested. That doesn't make her evil. It makes her human. But it does make you responsible for protecting your peace, for filtering her actions, for holding the line even when your emotions beg you to surrender. That's real strength. That's the kind of trust that's earned, not given. The man who trusts himself never has to beg anyone else to be loyal. He doesn't check her phone. He doesn't interrogate her friends. He doesn't obsess over who she's texting, because he knows if she betrays him, she loses him. Simple. No drama, no pleading, just silence. That's the energy you must move with. That's the calm power that makes her think twice. Not fear, but clarity. Not control, but consequence. A man who truly knows his worth doesn't need blind trust because he operates in truth. And women respect that more than any poem, gift, or bouquet of roses. A man who says, "I don't trust words, I trust behavior," is a man who's been through the fire and came out forged. Women often get offended when you say you don't trust easily, but that offense is a test, because the right woman won't take it personally. She'll understand, she'll show up, she'll earn your trust. She won't demand access, she'll ask how she can deserve it. That's the woman you let in slowly, carefully, deliberately. But the one who gets angry, who guilt trips you, who says, "Why don't you believe me?" She's already telling you she expects blind faith, that she believes her emotions are evidence enough. And that's the woman who will betray you, and then say, "But I didn't mean to hurt you." Brother, trust is not about how much she says she loves you. It's about how much she respects your standards. And anyone who asks you to lower them is already preparing to break them. You are not broken for not trusting easily. You are not cold for pulling back. You are not bitter for building walls. You are protecting the kingdom within you, because every time you trusted too soon, you paid the price. Every time you gave the benefit of the doubt, you lost something real. Time, energy, sanity. That's not weakness, that's a lesson. And only fools ignore the pain that tried to teach them. Now you know trust is sacred, and it must be earned like gold, not given like candy. The man who learns this too late ends up destroyed. But the man who learns it now, he moves different, he speaks different, he loves different. He's not afraid to care, but he refuses to care blindly. You don't need to be guarded forever, but you do need to filter ruthlessly. Let her prove her consistency. Let her show up over time. Let her handle discomfort without withdrawing. Let her be bored without creating chaos. Let her be tempted without betraying you. And when she passes those tests, not because you set traps, but because life will naturally test her, you can begin to trust, but not a second sooner. Because most women will say all the right things, they'll show you glimpses of a dream, but it's your job to check if it's real, to look behind the curtain, to stop confusing potential with proof. Because trusting her heart without watching her hands, that's how men fall from grace. You don't fall in love and then see who she is. You watch who she is and then fall in love. That's the correct order. And if you reverse it, if you let your feelings lead your judgment, you will end up hurt every single time. Because love doesn't protect you from betrayal, wisdom does. Standards do, boundaries do. And if a woman gets offended by your caution, your patience, your discernment, she was never planning to stay the course anyway. She just wanted a fast track to your devotion, a shortcut to the softest parts of you. But you've earned your strength now. You've rebuilt from betrayal. You know better, and knowing better means you love smarter, slower, stronger. The world will tell you to trust women again, that not all women are the same, that you need to let go and open up. But here's the truth. Most people telling you that haven't been through what you have. They haven't watched someone they trusted with everything lie with a straight face. They haven't lost sleep for weeks over someone who moved on in days. They haven't poured their soul into a relationship, only to be replaced like a pair of worn-out shoes. So no, you don't have to trust quickly. You don't have to just get over it. You don't have to apologize for your scars. Your caution is not weakness, it's survival. It's wisdom paid for in blood. Don't let anyone shame you out of that. The strongest men don't hate women, they just stop trusting blindly. They love with discernment, they lead with clarity, they reward effort, not words. They build slowly, observe quietly, and speak with intention. That's what a grounded man looks like. And women may not always love that version of you, but the right ones will respect it. They'll feel safe in it, because it's real, it's consistent. It's not swayed by flattery or manipulated by emotion. It's the kind of energy that commands reverence. That's what you give the world now. Not your blind trust, but your unshakable presence. So here's the truth, brother. Every man learns this the hard way. That trust is not a gift, it's a currency. And you don't spend it where it hasn't been earned. You don't build castles on shifting sand. You don't bet your peace on temporary feelings. You love, yes. But with your eyes open, you give, yes. But with boundaries, you open up, yes. But with filters, and when you live that way, when you hold your truth above her temporary affection, you stop being the man who gets hurt and start being the man who gets respected. You don't trust women blindly anymore, and that doesn't make you cruel, it makes you whole.